What if I told you that my favorite drum plugin just got 3 times better? That's right, my friend. I'm talking about Orange Clip 3 by Schwabe Digital. But why do I say that it's now 3 times better?
Let's go find out.
I'm gonna relax this thing now. We break it down, baby. Alright, my friend, thank you so much for being here once again in another episode. And like I said in the intro, we're talking about Orange Clip 3. What I already consider a must-have plugin literally just got so much better in every single way that counts. Why don't we just stop the talking, get to the rocking, and get orange. Alright, my friends, so here we are in Pro Tools, and as you can see, here we go, Orange Clip by Schwabe Digital. And for the longest time, I was missing out on this plugin, but literally the second I got my hands onto it, I haven't stopped using it. It literally just made it into every single song that I produced, I don't know, in the past 3 months. I don't want to let you be fooled by the name Orange Clip. This is not your average clipper. And with the new update, it's even further away from what a clipper is. In my opinion, Orange Clip is a creative tool for the modern producer, and I'm about to show you why. I feel like until now, clippers have been a necessary evil for modern production, but with plugins running in this new direction, I feel like we're finally able to use these kind of tools in a creative way. Let me know what kind of clippers you use in the comment section down below, my friend, and while you're there, remember to like, subscribe, and do all those cool little things I would like to do on YouTube, and enjoy this little bossa nova, my friend. I hope your day keeps getting better and better and better. Alright, my friends, so if you're not familiar with Orange Clip, let's just check the interface really quick, because even though it's like very well designed and very easy to understand, there's a couple things that might throw you off if you don't know what we're talking about, so let's just go check it really quick. But if you already know Orange Clip, jump to this minute right here so that you don't waste any time and you go straight to the sound examples. I'll meet you right there, my friend. And from left to right, first we have an input section, and as you can see, there's also a ceiling, kind of like threshold line. And right here in this center section of the screen is where you actually have the knee control for your clipping. It's basically where you're going to determine if you're going to be using hard clipping or soft clipping. Like you have a big spectrum. Look, from minus 51.8 to 0, which is basically nuke. And every time you click option click, everything goes back to default. Okay, right here in the center where you see this little eyes like this guy, this button right here is the link between the input and the output faders. So if you see, for example, I push input up, the output goes reciprocally down. But then you would say, what happens if I want to tweak it beyond that? Well, you just hold shift and then you can move one freely, and then maybe you have an offset, I don't know, whatever many dBs this is, and then they both move together, keeping that offset that you pre-selected now. So see how now, for example, this is 4.8 and this is 3.3. We have a 1.5 dB offset. Simple, right? And that might be self-explanatory, but if it's not, they're basically two faders. One controls the process signal and the other one has no process whatsoever. So then you can select the balance in case maybe your process signal is like very, very aggressive and you just want to like sneak it in up to your main signal just so that you can get the sound that you want. And of course, let's say if you were to have everything dry, then you just take this guy off and then you start bringing your process signal like so. Very easy. Then right here in the top, you have your presets that you can save. Right now, there's only 3, Ryan's, Basic Orange, and Mixed Orange. But of course, you can save your presets right here with this thing. And then you have an A/B button, which is basically you can have 2 different presets and then you can have a little bit of a shootout right there really quick. Let's call it a settings memory if you want. And then right here at the bottom is where all the magic is. You can see you can select your oversampling. And there's up to 16 times, but I want to say that high in this like 4x mode, it's really good. It sounds really great and it barely taxes your computer. So I want to say that this might be kind of like the sweet spot, and that's why it's the default in the plugin. It's funny because you have to remember that the people doing these plugins are very, very clever people. And not only that, they've been developing it for a long, long time. And what you're seeing right now, it's a very well refined version of the plugin and it shows, right? And then very cool, you have this controller right here, which is how you choose the way the phase is going to be managed by the plugin. What am I talking about? You're talking about linear phase and minimum phase. And honestly, there's no need to have a very geeky explanation of what these are. Just click it and keep the one that you like the most, right? Very, very simple. Then, other than that, we have right here true linear, which is still phase. And you can choose true linear and then this one called Q linear, that it's really, really nice on any like percussive elements like maybe kick drums, fat snares, 808s, anything that has like a lot of pressure in the bottom, that you want to keep a lot of pressure in the bottom because you know that every time that you're clipping something really hard, you lose a lot of bottom end. And this is gonna help you counteract that a little bit, phase-wise, right? Isn't it crazy? I'm telling you, these guys are flying. And then of course, last but not least, you have control for the size of your window. And they pretty much vectorize this because you can see there's zero lose of quality if you make it bigger. See, like everything looks exactly as sharp as it did when it was like right here. Everybody should be doing that, right? And then the thing that makes this plugin so special is this thing right here in the center that I very carefully omitted. The multi-band button, which effectively is gonna make our clipper a multi-band clipper, where you can take care of your low frequencies, mid-range, and your high frequencies. And you can control the crossover point right here with these two buttons, right? Right now it's 125, but it could be whatever you choose. And then same thing right here. And this is where I was talking about that there's a little bit of complication with understanding what the plugin is doing. And of course, I'm going to show you all this in practical examples. But these things that might look like level, they're not level. They're basically just a replica of the knee control right here. So let's say if we want to have that same knee control, we would have to put right here -4.4. And then this section of the clipper and the low frequencies that you already pre-selected is going to behave like this one. But right now, where we have it in 0, you basically have hard clippers everywhere. And in my case, I found that -4.4, it's around the sweet spot for most like drums and basses, which I feel like is where this plugin shines. And then up here, that will be level post clip, where you can recover a little bit of what you're losing when you're chopping up those wave files, right? And then you can do up to 12 dBs of gain. But let's say coincidentally, if you're trying to get rid of some frequency range, boop, just turn it down. That's a great feature right there. And then if you move to the right, you're gonna see that we have solo buttons, and then we have these 100 numbers, right? These 100 numbers are effectively a blend knob. It goes from 100 to 0. 0, there's no clipping being applied. And 100, there's all the clipping being applied. There's a lot of power to this. And then on top of that, the signal coming out of this goes back into the input, so you can still clip it even harder. This is a very hard to beat plugin. All right, my friend, and finally, the moment that we've all been waiting for, this is the time for you to go get a great set of headphones, speakers, AirPods, whatever you feel comfortable listening to music, so that we can have a meaningful conversation in the comment section down below. All right, let's start listening to these drums, first without the plugin, and then I'm gonna bring it in. Basically no change whatsoever, right? Let's start pushing it and see what happens. The first thing that I do is I bring my ceiling right exactly where I'm clipping, just so that I can hear what's happening, right? And it's very little. Let's see what happens if I start pushing signal into it. If you pay attention to the meters right here, you'll see that there's a very big difference in the peak metering, right? Let's see what happens. First without the plugin, and then I'll bring it in. See how when I have the clipper on, it doesn't even go past like 19, right? But where I take it off, it goes all the way to maybe like -14, -15. But the drums sound almost as loud, if not louder, right? So basically, that would be the first utility that you have with this plugin, which is basically just like gain a little bit of headroom that is going to allow you to push your mix further when you're trying to win the loudness wars, right? Because I know everybody says the loudness wars is dead, but I beg to differ. Everybody's still trying to make their mixes as hot as they can, you know? But right now, we have way better tools to do it. Case in point, right? You know what I mean? But that's not the charm. I want to say that every time I use Orange Clip, the biggest thing is like when you start really breaking the sound up, that's where you get the real benefit of using Orange Clip. Or like what's different from other clippers, I want to say. Even like clipping 7 dBs of gain, it still doesn't sound broken up, but it sounds with a lot of texture, like a lot of grit and like a lot of power. Now they sound like drums, you know what I mean? Let's try to hear an A and B. I mean, to me, that is a big, big win. But of course, Schwabe Digital didn't stop there, and they gave us this, which is the beauty of Orange Clip 3, which is the reason why I feel like this is 3 times better. So what's the approach that I take when I use the multiband in this plugin? First, I sort of like have the plugin read the peaks like this. And now I know exactly where to place my little ceilings or my little thresholds over here. Right around where I'm like clipping, like right under or like right over usually. And then this one, you would think, oh, he's going to keep it there. But that's mostly like snare, wood blocky things, and like the good meaty part of a shaker. So I'm just going to go hard all the way. And I'm going to basically level it with the bass. But in the top, I'm going to be a lot more conservative. And let's do it like, I don't know, maybe like right here. Let's just start listening to what happens. And as you can tell, that got really, really aggressive. I feel like more aggressive than this was. And mostly I want to say that that's because of the knee control, like I was saying. Let's take it back to minus 4.4, which is the suggested knee. And I'm going to tell you right there and there, like that's the reason why you push this 5 dBs up, like clipping 7 dBs, and you still have a somewhat clean sound. It's because of this knee control. The second you go to hard clipping, you have to be a little bit more strategic because you cannot clip as much. The sound is totally different, and we're going to listen to it really quick. But for now, let's take this multiband, both of these areas, to minus 4.4. And now let's hear the difference that makes. And you might say, oh, but I lost a little bit of the punch and a little bit of the excitement. Calm down. Didn't we just clip freaking almost 10 dBs? Calm down. This is what we're going to do. We're going to push this baby up. Maybe not 3 dBs, but we're going to push it listening. And we're going to make adjustments. And remember, we're gaining so much headroom over here that we have all the leeway to actually tweak the sound as much as we want to. Okay, the first thing that I hear is like the cymbals are starting to suffer a little bit, the hi-hats. So let's see what happens if I just turn this guy up all the way and maybe take it all the way out of the signal. Now the hi-hat got a little bit better, but we cannot run away from the fact that we are pushing a lot of gain into it. So let's just back it off a little bit. And you see how we instantly just beat our old drum sound in just a couple knobs. I mean, I admit that I'm pushing it a little bit harder for the example, but this is not far away from where I would really, really have it. Let's say I would probably do something like this. And just start tightening up the drums, because I feel like when you're clipping things, all of a sudden things get a little bit tighter. But if you clip them a little too hard, you get the flub again. You know what I mean? So I want to say maybe I'm pushing a little bit too much low end to see what's up. So definitely not transparent, but sounds really, really good. And now the top secret thing that you will find here in Orange Clip is, like I said earlier, the usage of phase. And in the case of drums, nothing beats this Q linear. Let's hear it. First, again, the true linear, and then I'm going to switch to Q linear. Just pay attention. Like, I feel like even after all the clipping that we're doing, we got a lot of the transient back, or a lot of the impact, just by changing our phase. I do tweak the phase in different plugins, but I've never heard a part of the face that just does something so specifically great for the drums. Like, you know what I mean? It almost like you can sell just that kind of plugin and just say that that's a repunchifier or something like that. You know what I mean? Because just by fixing your face or by using just the perfect kind of filters, you're getting all the smack back. Let's see what happens here. If I want to see how much clipping I had right now. I mean, I have 4 dBs of clipping, and it sounds with even more punch than when I started, more character, better high-end, better mid-range, like all it's just way better drums. That's why I said this is my favorite drum plugin, and now it just got 3 times better. And after doing drums, which I feel like this is where this excels.
Let's go check some 808s.
Okay, so here we are in my 808 section. And first and foremost, I want you to pay attention to the kind of 808 that we have, because the treatment that we're going to do is going to be dependent on what we have, right? So let's hear that really quick. I'm going to turn this orange clip off. So straight up, just a really good 808. It has a lot of punch, almost like kick-like punch, I want to say. And if you see the meters, that thing is just like boom, 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 jumping. And then it goes down to where the 808 is. And in this case, this 808 is basically my bass line because I already have a kick drum. I feel like the first thing that I need to do is get rid of it, right? Because I don't want it to compete with my drums. So let's hear what I did right here. Again, pay attention to the meters. Not subtle at all, my friend. But you know, this is all about what sounds good in the track. And let's hear how it sounds in the track, which is going to inform us into why I make that kind of decision, right? Like right away, I hear like several problems that happen the second I take the orange clip off. I start having a little bit of issues with my kick drum because that transient is just basically making like a double, like a flam. Let's hear it just with the drums. Like there's more problems than just one. It creates a little bit of an issue with the kick drum itself, but then again, I don't hear the bass line as much as I want to hear it in the song. And instantly it just gave me like a little bit of more like that rock vibes that I like to feel with my bass in this particular kind of song, right? It just instantly like commands your attention like, hey, I'm not just an 808, I'm a modern bass sound. And let's hear what's happening with the orange clip. So as you can see, the first thing to point out is that I'm using a wet-dry kind of scenario, which means that I'm doing the distortion in parallel, which is why some of these things are gonna sound whack on its own. Let's hear it right now in solo. So you can see very clearly right there what I'm adding to our original bass sound, which is just basically a lot of mid-range and a lot of distortion. And I'm just tightening that bottom end just a tiny little bit. Let's hear it. And you see, that's what I was saying about like how much like you lose a little bit of bottom end when you clip it. Like, as you can tell, like, it's not a lot of clipping, but as you can see, I'm using the level right here just to compensate what I'm losing in the bottom end so that I'm not losing anything. And then as you can see right here, I'm pushing almost 10 dBs of mid-range because I really want that, you know what I mean? And doing it in parallel is the perfect way to do it. Let's see what happens if I just start playing with this. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? Let's hear it with and without really quick. say like it's boring without it, but it's so much better with it, right? Okay, so let's just keep these settings here the way they are. And if you want to copy them, copy them. And you see what I did here? Q linear on the face. Again, it just works really well with this 808. But now let's hear what happens if we put this across the whole mix. And right now I already have a setting and I'm going all the way wet on this one. And I'm a little bit more conservative now because I already have all that nice clipping going on in the instruments, right? And maybe, you know, in a real mix, I'm putting just like clipper on the kick drum, clipper on the snare, clipper on the toms. You know, I'm going to choose what I want to have clipper on or not. For example, in an acoustic guitar, orange clip. Oh, that's a big secret. Let me know if you want to see how I mess up an acoustic guitar with orange clip. All right, but right now, let's hear it in the whole mix. I'm going to start with it off and then I'm going to bring it on, okay?
I don't know if it's money or fame or the people that you know. I don't know if it's power or game or there's just too much drugs. Diddy, when keeping it real goes wrong, goes wrong. It really was a bad boy for life, just having some fun. Allegedly, he had 1,000 bottles of lube at home to have these massive.
Listen in this section when we already have like a little bit of more like exciting stereo signals. Listen to what happens and how it opens up when I bring the clipper in.
Fun. Allegedly, he had 1,000 bottles of lube at home to have these massive freakups in hotel rooms. When did he want to party? You gotta say no. 1,000 bottles of lube ready to spend them with you. They're just trying to have a good time. A millionaire's party. Massive freakouts on Friday. A millionaire's party. Of course you're not invited. No.
And as you can see, I'm still using Q linear in the instrument bus because I feel like it's literally the best. If you're going to have to run kick drums and 808s and big basses through it, that's the way to do it, my friend. Okay, so now let's just end up in that note and get a few conclusions. Alright, my friends, so there you go. My favorite drum plugin, just 3 times better. I honestly think that this is the clipper to break the paradigm of all clippers because up until now, I felt like all the clippers are like a utilitarian plugin, and this is a creative plugin. Just because it gives you so much flexibility, and the way I think about it right now, it's just basically like a really cool, I don't know, like analog compressor with like a bunch of things that I can do to manipulate the sound. But in the end, I just feel like what I really like about it is that it's just a tone box. Everything you throw at it, you can find a way to make it work and to do everything that you really want it to do. For example, what do? I just start thinking tonally. How much gain do I want in the high end? How much gain I want in the low end? How much I want distortion? Where do I want cleanliness? And when all that is sorted out, I still have the flexibility of just pushing a little bit more gain into the channel and just like add a little bit more clipping, gain a little bit of headroom, almost like as a byproduct, which used to be like the main reason why you would use a clipping plugin, right? And honestly, you need to try Orange Clip, for example, in kicks, snares, percussion element, shakers, acoustic guitar, like I was saying earlier. And I mean it. Like if you want me to go and do an episode of how to treat acoustic guitars with Orange Clip,
I'll be happy to do it.
or maybe not just acoustic guitar, but individual elements, right? And how much capabilities you have with just one plugin. You just have to be curious about it. I feel like if we get wrapped up in the names of plugins, like we don't really end up pushing them to the level that we actually are going to get any benefit. But here's where I want to say, like, what's the particularity about Orange Clip compared to other clippers, for example? Like, I use Standard Clip a lot, but I feel like Standard Clip, it's more like a scalpel. Because even though it sounds really good and the saturation is nice, I never go to Standard Clip for the saturation. I really go at it trying to get the cleanest clipping that I can. And I try to make sure that I'm not doing too much because I am not looking for its saturation purposes, which is totally the opposite of Orange Clip. I'm going to Orange Clip because I want that distortion, I want that sound, I want that clipping sound. And it's funny because I was with a bunch of friends, producer friends the other day, and of course conversations start happening and everybody's like, so Jorge, what do you think sounds the best, man? And I was just like, I don't know, man. I feel like all DAWs sound pretty much the same, but drums through Fruity Loops always sounds the best. And that's pretty much what got Orange Clip the starting point, but I feel like they just took it way far away, becoming the amazing sauce box that Orange Clip 3 is right now, and the reason why it lives in my production tracks and in my mixes. And now I'm really curious about Gold Clip, because if this is like a sauce box that you go to for its saturation because you wanted to hear it, but I use Standard Clip to make sure that I'm doing the cleanest clipping that I can. I wonder if I'm playing myself and I should get gold clip. But anyway, my friend, I'm rambling at this point. That's enough about me. I want to hear about you in the comment section down below. And if you stayed all the way till the very end, please make sure to tell me in the comment section so we can have fun with these 2 orange emojis. Most people are going to be like, what's this all about? But you and I know exactly what's happening. And I think there's a little bit of fun to that, right? Right, my friend, but that's enough. Remember to like, subscribe, do all those cool little things that we like to do on YouTube. And if you can financially support me, smash that super thanks button right there. I thank you so much. And if you have some more time to watch another video, go watch this one right here, my friend. I'll be waiting for you right there to hang out a little bit more.